Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. My name is Lucia and this is Lulu's Leaves. Today I wanted to go around and show you guys some of my houseplants, and I want to talk to you guys about how they have survived this winter, because honestly this is my first winter with houseplants and I wasn't sure what to expect, but I actually feel like I've done a really good job. There have been minor problems and only a few casualties, but overall my plants have been doing really well. So I did want to show you guys some plants that have come back from doing poorly and plants that are currently doing poorly because of the winter. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in watching, definitely continue watching all the way through to the end and click the thumbs up button and subscribe down below. But with all of that being said, let's get straight on into today's video. So I want to basically go over some of the growth updates with my plants and stuff like that. And also I'm going to talk to you guys about any plants that may have really declined over the winter or kind of came back from a really bad time. But yeah, let me start off with Bob here. This guy is one that honestly has never given me any trouble. The largest two leaves, I don't know if you guys remember, but this plant actually had two other big giant leaves that sat kind of right there and there. And over the winter, one of those did actually die, but the other one that had a little rip in it didn't. I decided to cut the second one off anyways, just because it was looking really weird and it had like another big leaf just sticking right up at the top there. And I just find that this looks so much better and nicer. And the shape of these leaves are like way more cohesive than the shape of the other two leaves. They were a little bit more elongated. But other than that, this plant is doing really, really well. I honestly thought that this leaf was gonna kick the bucket like a long time ago, but this one has looked like this since I got it. So it is just, I think maybe a little bit sun bleached rather than yellowing. Cause yeah, I feel like this leaf would have died off already if that was what was happening. So yeah, this guy is always just doing so well, and it really takes like no care at all. I just water it every few weeks. Maybe even once a month I water this guy and it's just fine. Another one that I thought might not be doing well is my Philodendron glorious. This one, if you can see, this right side of the leaf is a little bit lighter. It almost looked like it was gonna start yellowing and dying off, but it's not. And yeah, it's kind of like the gloriosum in that way, where it will get that lighter coloration, but unless it's like really, really yellowing, it's not gonna go for a while at least. And same with this one. I think this is just bleaching from my grow lights, but it's actually looking really good. I cut this one for a trade. The trade was actually such a great trade, and then there was an accident where, okay, we'll get into that when we get to that plant. Anyways, this is the new growth point that's coming from that chop though. Let me see if I can get that. There we go. I was really worried because I didn't see an auxiliary bud after I chopped, but I'm pretty sure even if it has a node, it can push out an auxiliary bud if there's not already one there. But yeah, that one is pushing out new growth. It was hiding from me in the little crevice there. But I did actually repot this into a smaller pot. And when I did, I noticed that there was a second node there, right there, yeah. So I figured if this one didn't push anything out, I could always cut it back to there and that would activate. So yeah, this one kind of is in the clear now, but I was really worried about it at the beginning. I probably am going to get it a smaller moss pole. I did have it on the Trofolia straight up moss pole, but it is a little bit too big for this pot, and the base of it kind of covers the entire pot. and I really want to wait until I can put it into a bigger pot to use that pole again. This is another one that's been really struggling lately. I think I'm actually going to propagate it really soon because the stem here in some areas is just drying out completely. I actually don't think there are any leaves on this one, but yeah, I don't know. This one actually looks okay, so maybe I won't. I don't know. I just don't want to cut it because it does look really cute around this trellis, but it also hasn't done anything. Although there is a little growth point there, so maybe I'll wait for that and see what comes. But this one barely survived winter. It had some mealybugs. It looks like the mealybugs are gone, luckily, but a lot of my Hoyas did have mealybugs over the winter, so I'm glad that it's slowly recovering. The rest of these plants were doing really well, so I'm not even gonna go over them. They really had no troubles over the winter. This here is one of my plants that definitely struggled. This is my Philodendron Splendid. This was a little chunk that I had to grow back, and it was actually doing really well. And then all of a sudden it just started dying and drying out like this. So I'm not exactly sure what happened there, but I mean, what are you gonna do? It's just a plant. I can find another one. They're actually becoming a lot more available, so hopefully I can find another one in the springtime to replace that, because I really don't know if it's going to make it, but let's cross our fingers. This one is one that I'm really surprised survived the winter. This one was shipped to me in really cold conditions, obviously with the heat pack, so the roots and everything survived, but these new leaves are brand new. I'm really hoping for some new growth soon because this one is looking adorable. But yeah, it's pretty exciting. I didn't expect to have that begonia come okay, and now it's like living its life, doing a really good job at surviving. This guy here is not doing the best, but we are pushing out some new growth right there. So, I mean, hopefully this will make up for this leaf wanting to die off. I'm not gonna take this leaf off until it's completely yellowed, because you guys get mad at me when I do that. And I'm kind of over it now. Like, I don't really care about a plant looking temporarily ugly with a yellow leaf, so I'm gonna keep it for the plant's sake. But yeah, I'm really hopeful that that leaf will come out nicely and it will just stabilize the plant again. I hope it's enjoying Lechuzapon. I imagine it is if it's pushing out a new leaf, but it is also yellowing other leaves, so let's hope. This did have like 3 or 4 leaves at one time, so it's obviously declining a little bit, but this is the new hope here. This one definitely did struggle as well this winter. I burnt part of it on a candle, and then some of the leaves started to like yellow a little bit, but we still haven't had any growth. And it's not just because it's an anthurium and it's winter, because literally every single one of my anthuriums in this cabinet, other than this plant, have grown tremendously. So I don't know. I just separated another piece of this for a trade that I'm doing, and I'm hopeful that that might spark something for this plant, but it's just such a slow grower. This is another one that I worried about a lot last year coming into winter. This is one that honestly had thrips, I think, and I got rid of them, luckily, and it looks so good now. I don't know how I managed to do that. It was my first thrips outbreak ever, and I didn't lose a single plant. Actually, that's not true. I threw out a Monstera deliciosa. That was just like a smaller one because I didn't want to deal with it, but this plant is now thriving, putting out new growth, like all of the above. It's just doing really, really nicely. So I was able to save this one from a disaster. I mean, I definitely chopped off some of its older leaves, but it just goes to show that it's not a death sentence. You can deal with pests, and they can come back really nicely. So yeah. And then this one also struggled a lot over the winter. This was in my grow tent when I had the grow tent, and it had a bunch of leaves that were about this size, but now it's stuck with just this one leaf and a bunch of little baby leaves, which I actually think looks really, really cute, but it just goes to show you how many leaves did actually fall off or yellow. But now, look at all these growth points. Like, it is not struggling whatsoever. Oh, we're getting water on me. But yeah, it definitely did go through a little transition period because all of those older leaves are gone, but it is coming back full force, and I'm hoping for some larger leaves this summer to kind of come back from that. So we're just over in the kitchen because I was making this pizza for myself. But I did want to talk about my Plow Mania as well. This one was actually doing really well for a little period of time. It had 2 leaves that were doing really well, and then this one honestly started declining when I put it in leca, and it started losing each and every leaf as it went on, and now it's stuck with no leaves. I'm really hopeful that because it has a decent root system that this leaf comes out and it starts stabilizing itself, but for so long this one just kept losing its oldest leaves, and I thought it was stabilized, and then it wasn't. Obviously you can see that cut off growth point there, but yeah, it's kind of sad. But it's just sitting in a south-facing window up here in hopes that it will revive itself. I'm gonna cut up my pizza here and then I will get back to you. All right guys, so I'm back and the pizza was delicious, but I wanted to talk to you guys about this Ethereum Regal. This is honestly super unfortunate. When I traded for this plant, it had 3 leaves, and we drove home from the trade that night, and the window in our car literally fell down into the car as if we were rolling down the window. And it was probably -13 that night. So I tried my best to kind of secure this plant under my legs and keep it as warm as possible. We were blasting the heat in the front seat, but there was honestly not much we could do, and the 2 top leaves did end up getting cold damage and dying. This is the only leaf that was left, and it was actually doing okay, but it did start yellowing just recently. It's been about probably 3 or 4 weeks now, but it does have, like, it's not gonna die. Like, it does have roots. Where are the roots? I don't know where the roots are, but it does have good roots, and I think it's just going to take a little bit of time to get this one back and going strong, but I don't see it being a problem, and I really do think that this one will come back. But it did get cold damage, unfortunately, and yeah, it was just an unfortunate little accident with the car. So yeah, luckily I didn't pay for it, and I just traded for it, so I didn't really spend any money on this plant, but it still does hurt your heart a little bit. So we're in the bathroom now, and believe it or not, this Hoya serpens was down to a single node, 2 leaves, a single node at one point during the winter, and it really just didn't want to root. But we finally got this guy growing and steady, and it had all of this growth over the winter, which is just incredible. And I'm super, super proud of my ability, honestly, to save a lot of these plants. Like, I am a new plant parent too, and yeah, I've been able to kind of work through a lot of the issues that I've had with my plants, and I've learned a lot this winter. So I'm really excited for the spring when everything grows a little bit easier. But yeah, this is the serpents, and it's doing really, really well now. Another plant that I didn't think was going to make it through the winter was this guy here, this is my variegated Hoya carnosa compacta. This one had mealybugs, unfortunately. It had really bad mealybugs actually, but it does seem to be doing really, really well now. And I have recently just checked it over for mealybugs to see if any had started to reproduce again, but it looks like I did actually get all of them. So this one is coming back. It is still a little bit wrinkly, but I'm gonna try to stay on top of the watering a little bit more. I just did water this one, so that's kind of why it's still looking a little bit wrinkly. I watered it yesterday, but yeah, I'm really happy that this one isn't going to die because it's one that I kind of put a lot of effort into getting. But yeah, I really love this plant and I hope that it enjoys its life over here on the little hutch. But yeah, that one is doing well now. And also my, I think this is the last plant that I have to talk about because all the other ones have done really well over the winter, but this is my Peru. You guys know it was struggling. It's really slow too, but you can see this like sun or pest damage. It honestly looks like thrips, but there's like nothing on it and there hasn't been anything on it. So I'm pretty sure this is just from the sun, and all of the new growth looks really healthy too. But yeah, this one was down to like just this one leaf. And now it's got all of this new growth, and I don't think there's anything new on the way yet. But again, this one's very, very slow, and at least it is coming back from that one really ugly, kind of dying looking leaf. So yeah. That is all. All right guys, well that is it for today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe down below so that you don't miss out on any future content. But yeah, let me know if you guys want to see more videos like this, and leave any requests for videos down below if you have any. But yeah, that's going to be all from me guys. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!